Welcome to She Rebel Radio, the podcast for high-performing women leaders who want to unlearn conventional rules, leave prestigious careers, and launch businesses of significance. Each week, She Rebel Radio brings you insights and advice from women entrepreneurs who transformed their prestige prisons into daring entrepreneurial success stories. Now, here is your host, Lulu Nins.
Welcome to episode 11 of She Rebel Radio with Katherine Swift, the founder of OMG Tea. And today we're going to be talking about on building an extraordinary business out of adversity and what drives her forward. Welcome, Katherine. How are you doing?
Hi, Lulu. I'm fine, thank you.
Good. And I was going to open a bit on, we met at a few local networking events in Brighton, where we both live, but you're from Manchester originally.
I am, yeah.
And I went to university in Manchester, actually. And I feel like Mancunians and Brightonians, we have quite a lot in common. I think we're quite gritty in character. Would you agree with that?
I would, yeah. But also probably a little bit laissez-faire as well, kind of quite accepting of, environments and different people and that kind of thing. So, yeah. I think we're quite chilled out. We can be gritty, but, I am anyway. And I feel like,
Yeah, it's kind of that anything goes, accepting people for who they are. And yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've always felt an affinity with Manchester, being a Brightonian originally.
Yeah, no, it is actually, I miss it. I do miss it. It's a really cool city. It was a great place to be, to grow up. But I absolutely love Brighton. We moved here 6 years ago because of my husband's job. He coaches at Sussex County Cricket Club, and I'd been to Brighton once on a business trip, and it was literally in and out of an office and back home. So I didn't really know what Brighton was going to be like. I just absolutely love it. The kids love it, and I get a lot of energy, I think, from being by the sea.
Yeah, totally. It's definitely a place that always calls me back. But as you say, growing up in Manchester, same with Brighton, just so much going on, so much culture and music and all of that. I think there's definitely an affinity there.
Cool. Yeah, definitely.
For sure. So the founder of OMG Tea, which is the highest quality premium Japanese matcha tea. Mm. And I know that your journey into creating OMG Tea started back in 2010. And I've heard you speak about it being a business born out of adversity. So what was happening for you at that time?
So, back in 2010, my mum was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. At the time, which is a massive shock. I'm one of 5 kids, and mum is, she's a really, really sort of strong female role model for all of us, and just so full of energy in life. The last person that you would have thought, would have ended up getting breast cancer, because everything in her makeup, in her outlook on life, but also in her physiology with regards to when she had children, the fact that she breastfed all the 5 of them, the diet, not smoking, not drinking, being slim. She'd been classed as low risk, really. So it's just a really big shock for us all when she was diagnosed. So it had quite a profound effect on me. I was really scared and about, the future for her and for the family. Yeah, and it was weird. At the time, I was working in event management, and one of the big events that I was running was the North West Football Awards. And the chair of the judging panel, a guy called Maurice Watkins, he was also the chairman of a big appeal for the Children's Hospital in Manchester. There was a £20 million appeal running at the time that we used to fundraise for at the football awards. Anyway, on the day Mum was in hospital having her mastectomy, I was all over the place, and my husband said to me that I should just focus on work and stop, worrying, because I was doing me and Mum no good. So I ended up picking the phone up to Maurice to have a chat with him about the football awards, which was, a couple of months away, and we were due to have the judging day. And so it was a conversation around that, but also I wanted to talk about the charity and what we were doing that year. So we got onto the subject of the charity, and I asked if he wanted to continue to fundraise for the Children's Hospital, because they'd actually hit their 20 million target. And he said, actually, he'd just been asked to head up a £5 million appeal for breakthrough breast cancer, which is now Breast Cancer Now. So he'd like to fundraise for breast cancer. So it was just really weird. I mean, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up, and I told him all about what was going on with Mum that day. And we raised money for Breakthrough that year at the Football Awards, but he also got me involved, and I became the project manager for this £5 million appeal for Breakthrough Breast Cancer, which was classed as a major donor appeal. So rather than tin shaking outside supermarkets, we were identifying high net worth individuals and taking them around the research unit to meet the scientists and see the science in action, because Breakthrough and breast cancer now is about research. So it's about finding, drugs and natural compounds that will potentially have a preventative effect, but also potentially help cure and fight breast cancer. So yeah, I was taking people around the research unit on a weekly basis to see the science and meet the scientists, and it was unbelievably inspirational because Professor Michael Lasanti, who was the research director at the time, had a really keen interest in antioxidants. He believed that, there were natural compounds that could be used to fight different types of cancer, including breast cancer. And that's where I found out about an antioxidant called EGCG that's found in abundance in green tea. So I wanted Mum to drink the green tea with the most EGCG in it. And because of how matcha is cultivated and processed, it has a huge amount more than even regular green tea. So we started drinking matcha for that reason, and I haven't ever looked back really. And it was not only the fact that I believed and Mum believed it was having a potential effect on her recovery, it was actually making us feel really good as well, giving us a really good physical boost. So I just felt totally compelled to set up a matcha company and spread the word about matcha, because at that stage 9 years ago it was still very unknown. It's still relatively unknown now, but it was really unknown there and I felt like I really wanted to spread the word. So that's how OMG Tea came about.
Amazing. And it is, as you said there, the synchronicities that kind of happened in finding out that your mum had stage 3, really serious breast cancer diagnosis, and you were in event management, and then all of a sudden found yourself heading this project and going around the research centres and seeing what discoveries were being made into reducing the risk of breast cancer.
Yeah, absolutely. And feeling like I'd got a real purpose as well. I actually really enjoyed event management. It was, I was good at it, and it was there was often a fundraising element which I always really enjoyed. Doing the auctions and raising money for charity. But I really felt, as soon as I started working for Breakthrough, that I'd got a real purpose in life, and I was doing something that was actually making a real potential positive change for me and for potentially other people as well.
Yeah, and I've also heard you describe your business as having a big beating heart behind it. Is that what pulls you forward?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the business came about, as you said earlier, through adversity, and I don't think I could have done what I'd done without having that real purpose and mission behind the business. Having the research, that the research is what really makes me tick. And I think it's really important to validate the health benefits, because there's so little research out there into natural compounds, because there isn't the financial resource to fund research, because it's so expensive. But I'm in a really privileged position, because I have I've got really good connections within research science. That means that we've been able to conduct a few trials, preliminary ones, but it's really, really important for us. And it's also what, it's what sets us apart from other businesses out there.
Absolutely. And if you found your background in event management and fundraising, how has that supported you moving OMG Tea to what it is today?
I think probably just, event management, you're like on the actual, at the actual event, whether it be, an awards ceremony or a conference you're running, you probably look like you're coping with stuff really well, and you're like a swan on the water where your legs are going like billy-o underneath. And I think, you've got to be really resilient in event management because it's actually really, really hard. It looks a lot easier than it is. There's so much, project management behind big events. So I think that's helped. Event management has helped with resilience, but also, you've got to be the hostess with the mostess. So being, outwardly facing and being quite a strong personality and being able to communicate well with people is really important as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The resilience and strength of character and being the face of your business. And yeah, I love that in terms of gliding smoothly on the surface, but underneath. And I think so many people think in terms of businesses as well. And my parents had a record shop in Brighton, and they thought they'd just, hang out and listen to records all day, and that was it.
Yeah, it always looks so much easier from the outside. And I think, people think that you've been lucky or you're gifted, and that's not the case at all. There's been a lot of hard work behind it. People who are successful because they work hard, I think, and I think all too often people look at other successful people and knock them because they think they've had better opportunities and more luck than them. I think there is an element of luck, but, you make your own luck and you have to work hard.
Yeah, and you have to keep on picking yourself up.
Totally, yeah.
Which is the resilience and the grit that we've been talking about. So what would you say has been your biggest challenge in moving the business forward?
Probably, I think there's two things. Innovation has been our biggest challenge. So developing, new products is always fraught with issues. You'll have a timeline that you've put in place for new product development, and more often than not, double it or triple it, because that's the reality of, when you actually, concept to launch, it often takes a lot longer. And it also takes you away from the day-to-day running of the business. But I think innovation is what keeps you ahead of the game. It's new news for existing customers, and it helps you get new ones as well. So yeah, innovation is definitely one, given me many, many sleepless nights and continues to.
And it sounds like you, but it's crucial in you being a leader in your field.
Absolutely, yeah. The other, which has been, more recent within the business, and I think it happens more actually as the business grows, is managing cash flow. But I think, I know people say people are using it as an excuse, but the last 18 months, particularly the last 6 months, economic, climate, consumer confidence, all around Brexit, is it's been a real challenge. And we've had feedback from our wholesaler, who's one of the biggest wholesalers in natural and organic foods in the UK, and they've said that there are there's quite a number of retailers not taking on any new lines at the moment until there's more certainty. So yeah, it's been it's challenging for brands like ours, particularly when you're premium. So people might look for a cheaper alternative. They might buy less frequently. They might just stop buying because, they're thinking a lot more carefully about how they're spending their money.
Absolutely, yeah, the luxury and premium, or downgrading their product. And I love what you say about the political climate. It's so true. I know, even speaking to those in the art field and galleries, and it's even affecting exhibitions in London and all of that. And I suddenly thought, when someone was saying that to me, God, I haven't been to an art gallery in about a year.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm part of the NatWest Entrepreneurial Accelerator here in Brighton. So we're networking with tens of businesses on a weekly basis, and you'll be hard pushed to find somebody who says that they're weathering the storm really well. It's really challenging for a lot of small businesses. Well, for a lot of businesses, full stop. But there are businesses, our accountant has said it as well, there are small businesses going under left, right and centre. It is a real challenge.
Yeah, and at times of uncertainty, my background was in, law. We had lots of, cutbacks with legal aid, and actually, that was hanging over us for about 5 years, that the actual business element of that completely floored so many firms. It's the uncertainty is really difficult to sustain a business when we don't know what's going to happen next. Yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, but we're coping. We're doing okay. Things are good. It's just we're working twice as hard for almost less of a return at the moment.
Yeah, totally. I understand that. Definitely. And that's, again, the grit and, getting through adversity and all of that. So as well, all the amazing stuff that you've done with, OMG Tea being that premium brand. You've travelled to and from Japan, researching the highest quality matcha, and believe me, it really is a high. I said, I know when I've had some of yours and I compared it to what I did have, and was like, yeah, I can see the colour difference in that.
Yeah,
totally. You've been asked to go on Dragon's Den. You have created your own grading for matcha. What has been the highlight around all of that? Because we've talked about the challenges, but what about the real highlights?
There's been numerous, really. I mean, I suppose the first real highlight for me was getting my first listing in Planet Organic, who are one of the key players in the natural and organic retail. So that was I was on top of the moon, at top of the whatever you say. What do you say? Top
of the world. But we can do the moon. The moon's feminine, so let's go with that.
Yeah. So that was great. Having our first piece of research published was a real high as well. One of the things that I'm really proud of is that we have great taste awards across our entire range of products, which is that's always been I just think it's a real testimony to the quality of the products that we've got, so that's been a highlight, getting those awards. Obviously surviving Dragon's Den, that was actually a pretty horrific experience overall, but I lived to tell the tale.
Yes.
I'm proud of how I performed on there, so that was good. I think every time we've extended the range, particularly launching our ready-to-drink product, and then more recently, I think getting our listing with Ocado, and we're also going to be launching with Lakeland nationally in January, which is amazing. So that's so more recently, those listings in the multiples. And then on a local level, I got shortlisted recently for Business Person of the Year for the Brighton Hove Business Awards.
Amazing.
And I didn't win it, which I didn't expect to. I was actually really surprised I got shortlisted even. But I was actually the one to watch, which I was extremely proud of. And, being part of the Brighton Hove business community is, it's really important to us.
Yeah, and I think it's really exciting being the one to watch, because it's like you're still on the journey. There's still loads of stuff that's happening and coming.
Yeah. So there's been lots of highlights. So it's what keeps you going as well. You've got to have the passion and the dedication, but you obviously you need to get some good wins to keep your mojo up.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, I think in Brighton, for example, matcha, because it's quite a holistic community, is a bit more out there, but across the board, it still is something that is really unknown. Has that been a real challenge, say on Dragon's Den and other people not really understanding what the product is? Massively.
And I think, up until Dragon's Den, I was probably living in a little bit of a bubble, because, the events that we were going to, and, it seemed like, from when I first started in 2013, 14 with the business, it seemed like there was a lot more people knew about what matcha was in the last sort of 12, 18 months. But I think it was because we were at events where they would. So, the yoga show, Natural and Organic, Veg Fest, places like that where actually, yes, that's our tribe, that's our community. They are the people who are going to know about matcha. When you go further afield, there's still a hell of a lot of people who haven't heard of matcha, and the ones who have don't understand what it is. So I was blown away on Dragon's Den when three of the five hadn't heard of it before. So I didn't. Yeah, I would have thought that in their position they would have come across what matcha, but they hadn't. So there's a huge education piece still around matcha and what matcha is, and we're doing what we can to educate, but it's difficult because we're only a small business.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, your vibe totally attracts your tribe, and it's hanging around at yoga studios and festivals and stuff. We're all talking about matcha, but in the bigger world, my mum only discovered it actually this year, and I was like, how did you not know about matcha, mother? What on earth? But yeah, you get used to. But it's that it's, but as well, it's really important, isn't it, with you starting, is finding who is going to trailblaze your product and love it, to get that education out there by word of mouth, etc. as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, we're building a very nice tribe at the moment, and, you know, celebrating them as much as we can, which is, you know, which is one of our things at the moment. It's sort of like, it's celebrating the extraordinary lives of our customers. So that's kind of like an ongoing blog from customers that we're going to be putting up on our website. Those who are interested in sharing their story are going to do that, and it's creating a really nice vibe around the tribe.
yeah, and I think people are really, you know, the online world helps us connect even more, but people are feeling disconnected. So creating that community, and I love your tagline of extraordinary tea, extraordinary lives.
Yeah. Well, that's it, because, you know, we are living in an extraordinary world, you know, living in the era that we're living in, with the challenges that we've got. We all live extraordinary lives. So, you know, OMG Tea, you know, is set to sort of help complement that, giving you the energy and the boost and the, you know, the zen that you need to deal with today's life.
Yeah, and there's that real, with matcha, that real sustainable energy, which again, sustainability, massive buzzword, with, you know, us needing to have sustainable lives as well as extraordinary ones.
Totally.
Which is easy.
So that, you know, the thing that makes matcha so special is the unique combination of caffeine and L-theanine it has in it. So, you know, rather than having the spike and slump you get with coffee, you get sustained energy release over sort of 3 to 6 hours, depending on your physiology. So people seem to think that matcha's got loads of caffeine in it. It doesn't. It has the same amount of a normal cup of green tea, but it's this synergistic effect of the caffeine with the L-theanine that gives you the sustained energy, because the caffeine energizes, they latch onto each other. And whilst the caffeine is energizing your body, the L-theanine slows the release of the caffeine, but also induces alpha brain waves, that are the brain waves that are present when you're in the zone, which is why the Buddhist monks in Japan have used it for hundreds and hundreds of years to enhance their meditation.
Perfect. Yeah, and I love matcha. I'm someone who can't drink coffee because of that spike. It sends me over the edge.
Yeah. No, I know the feeling.
Yeah, so amazing. So what would your advice be for other people, for other women in particular, who are the listeners of She Rebel Radio, who want to start something that's outside the status quo of their industry? Because matcha was totally out of the status quo with the tea industry when you dived in and got it out there.
Yeah, I just think it's got to come from the heart. That's what I really believe. I don't think I'd have been able to do what I've done without that real passion. You've got to be genuinely passionate about what you're doing, because that's what's gonna get you out of bed in the morning when you really don't feel like getting out of bed. And trust me, there's been some real challenging times in the business, and I could have given up. But it's that genuine belief in what I'm doing and the passion around it that's kept me going. So I think, you just need to make sure that you genuinely believe in, the business that you're intending to set up, and that you believe that, you believe that you can make it succeed and you're the person to make it succeed.
Yeah, it's the big beating heart that you talk about in terms of pulling the business forward. And within that, I know that the research element is so important for you. So what is next in terms of the research that's running alongside OMG Tea?
So, the other thing that's probably worth mentioning is I also founded a charity called the Healthy Life Foundation that funds research into age-related diseases. We've raised £500,000 so far, and we are currently funding research at the moment, research into repurposed FDA drugs, but also into natural compounds as well. So matcha is just a part of that, and so there are ongoing trials at the moment. There will be another breast cancer trial. There's a trial that's running in conjunction with Chichester University at the moment in relation to fat oxidation in women. So the next steps for us are, just to continue along. We will continue doing the research that we can. But again, we are only really, really small. There is only so much that we can do, but it's really important to us. And we'll be looking at more innovation and, product development that might be influenced or might be, it might have been influenced by the findings in the research as well. So, we're very much about matcha, but I wouldn't, we're also interested at looking at the synergistic effect of matcha with other natural compounds as well. So in the future, we may well be combining, different natural compounds.
Amazing. So running the research and OMG Tea alongside and seeing where that goes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The research. Amazing. So where can people find you and support your research and buy OMG Tea? What's the best way to find you?
Via the website, omgteas.co.uk. We're obviously on social media. All the links to the social media are on the website. We're on Amazon, Harvey Nichols, Revital, Dalesford, Planet Organic, Ocado. In relation to the Healthy Life Foundation, the Healthy Life Foundation website is www.thehealthylifefoundation.org. It'd be great if you could like and share our Facebook pages and, anything else that you can to support the charity would be amazing, because although, we've had a great start, we're really small and we need to, engage with more people. But have a look at the Healthy Life Foundation website and have a look at OMG Teas and become one of our tribe.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today on building OMG Tea out of adversity and what drives you forward. Have an amazing rest of the day.
Thanks, Lulu. You too.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thanks for listening to She Rebel Radio, the podcast for high-performing women leaders who want to unlearn conventional rules, leave prestigious careers, and launch businesses of significance. She Rebel Radio is executive produced and hosted by women's advocate and coach Lulu Mims. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss another episode. You can find Lulu Mims on Facebook and LinkedIn at Lulu Mims and on Instagram at LuluMims_biz. Until next week, keep rebelling against the rules and designing success your way.